Play the clip, Envy.
What's up, guys? It's Envy. We're back with another rendition of Sit Down with Envy. Now today I have special guest Basis. How you doing today?
Good, how are you, Envy?
Could be worse. Sun's shining. I'm
True.
inside,
Same, as always.
as always. So we're gonna keep this one mildly short and sweet. So tell the people a little bit about yourself for anyone who does not know who you are.
Basically, I used to play a lot of amateur league in OS, especially through MCOM, end up coaching a couple teams too, but mainly known throughout OS just for my Pantheon jungle pick, as not too many people play it, but yeah,
No one likes Pantheon.
true, no one does like Pantheon. Got a lot of hate after that one.
As you should. Rightfully so. As you definitely should. So we'll kick off the questioning. So because I've spoken to you a bit,
Yeah,
you've recently started going to the gym.
I have.
Now, like share with us a little bit about, your gym journey and how that's affected your life.
So, prior to going to the gym, I was always healthy. Like it was never really a thing about wanting to get healthier, but I just wanted to, improve my appearance and I don't know, just it's nice to have a bit of a schedule in it. So I do go 6 days a week. I got the same time every day. I do the same routine every shift. I do just stand and push pull legs. Nice for me. I just like having a routine in my life. Has been good for mental health too, but overall, like it's just nice to have something else to do outside of league, and it also does make me go outside.
Yeah, because I personally I find, I have a rough day of SoloQ. I'm like, I'm off to the gym, and then
Legit.
you work out all your feelings about how bad your teammates were on that day.
Sometimes I even take my op.gg loss streak as my pre-workout.
Oh, you're one of those. I've seen some
Yeah.
memes of that where the gym buddy just has their phone showing the 15 losses in a row.
Yep. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do for the gym gains.
Yeah, it do be like that. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, I don't know. Like the gym again, it makes by cutting down on the League of Legends itself because you're going to the gym. I find you have a much higher quality of games as well.
Oh, for sure. Less mindless spamming of games and more, actual focused league games.
Yeah. So how'd you get into League? Because everybody
Um.
has their own different story.
So basically, I had been warned about League well before I started playing it, as I'm sure most people were, since everyone is aware of how lovely League is. But I was eventually peer pressured into it by both my brother and one of my closest friends, and
No longer your
now
friend.
neither of them. He is still my friend, however, neither of them play with me anymore because they both realized how, lovely League was and have quit.
uh, yeah, because
So
every
now I'm just stuck left here.
stuck by yourself.
Yep, stuck by myself in the never-ending cycle of league games and loss streaks.
Never win streaks though.
Never win streaks. They
Never
don't
win streaks.
exist.
Yeah, because I don't know. My story was I played for a bit in 2013. Pretty sure I had an NA account because I don't. We may have only just gotten our region. I was like level
Yeah.
15, and then I quit, went to high school, and then some of like my mates were talking about, oh yeah, we're playing this game, and they're like, oh what game? And I was like, oh yeah, League of Legends. So I
Right.
picked it back up, right? Because at the time it was like Minecraft League, Minecraft League, Minecraft League,
Yeah.
right? Because those were like the big games back in 2013, 2014, just like in terms
Yeah.
of like schooling. Otherwise, it was like all the any kind of shooter game, but we were never really any good at those. So yeah, I started playing,
Yeah.
and they were playing. One of them is currently still bronze. He was a Tryndamere one trick, who's now shifted onto Ornn. I don't really play the game with him anymore. And then the other one, he had his older brother like play as well, and he was like Diamond, the older brother, and so
I
the younger brother had a bit of an ego, weirdly enough.
Well, because his brother's good at the game.
Yeah, yeah, and so like he'd just get like duo boosted.
Ah, yeah,
But he was
yeah.
unironically a fresh one trick and was silver by himself. And this is at the time where I was like silver 4 peak. You know, like
Yeah.
I was straight fire at the game.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah, nothing but any Malzahar.
Oh,
Those were
clearly.
the skill expression champions back then.
The outplay mechanic, you know? That
Nothing but
point and click
outplays.
ult, you know? Crazy mechanics. I mean,
Crazy.
what am I talking about? I play Pantheon, but still.
Yeah, 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 but still, you know, you got to press the W and the Q.
Bro,
You
you
know,
gotta press two buttons.
two buttons. That's more than Malzahar. Oh,
There you go.
twice the skill expression.
They're exactly right. That's how I see it.
But yeah, so they've pretty much all three of them, to my knowledge, have pretty much quit League. They'll come back round for a little bit of Earth or maybe TFT sometimes. I still have them on my friends list,
Ah,
but
yeah.
you know I've not seen them play games pretty much at all. So it's really funny how they give us this addiction to this video game and then bail on us.
See, that's what I was gonna say. They drag us into this, and then they're just like, "No, now you're on your own. Good luck.
Yeah,
Enjoy."
yeah, peace out, eh? Like you're stuck with
You-
this now.
yeah, you're stuck. Enjoy, and I'll go and play another game.
Yeah, I'll go play Valheim or something like that.
Something that's not League.
Yeah, never League anymore.
Oh goodness.
Right, we've touched on it a few times already. Why Pantheon?
Yes. Ah, I've been waiting for this question. This question, it gives me passion. See, have you ever seen such a handsome man as Pantheon?
Well,
No.
he's got a helmet, so no.
Oh, well, you see him take his helmet off in the cinematic. But Pantheon, that my friend is a man, okay? And you know, as a fellow person going to be a man, like that's the man you want to be, yeah. Because I could not think of one more manly champion. That is why I called him Mantheon. And
Pantheon.
yeah, the Mantheon. But nah, the real reason I started playing him was because a big G2 fan, always have been ever since I started playing the game. And I watched I was watching Yankos stream, and I saw him locking Pantheon jungle, and I was like, and as a jungler at the time, I was thinking, this looks cool. Surely this could be fun. I tried it, and completely stomped my first game. I'll have you know, and 3
Hooked
years
ever
later,
since.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah. So when you say that, when did you start playing League of Legends?
started playing League at the very end of season 9. It was like pre-season season 10. It was like the
Yeah.
end of 2019.
Okay, so you would not have had the enjoyment of old Pantheon.
I do not. I have seen it, and it looks very boring.
It was great fun.
I have heard stories of the atrocities it performs.
Point and kill at Q. That ulti circle was,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
that just looked awful.
um, they've updated it obviously.
And
The
the dodging
W was the same,
and the dodging of skill shots with
and tower
passive. That
shots.
did. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one too. Yeah,
Yeah, so instead they just added, you can't get damaged on the side of your E. Weird.
yeah.
It's almost like he needed buffs.
True. Still does need buffs.
Ah, here we. No, he does not. I've seen that champion.
Oh, he needs jungle buffs. Okay, 45% win rate in the jungle is not acceptable.
What's the play rate though? It's probably pretty low. It's probably just you.
Wait, what do you mean OP.GG is telling me that the sample size is too small?
Weird how that one works, isn't it? Now, this is the second part to this White Pantheon question.
Yeah.
Is there a champion you love, right? Like love the design of, or just love in general that you can't play? Like it's too difficult.
Okay. So there's not really any one of those champions that I can't play. I can still play them, but I must say, Pantheon's my favorite design champion. I like his kit. I like his playstyle. It
Yeah.
fits me perfectly. I like his lore. Like everything about Pantheon, I like so much that I've actually got a Pantheon poster in my room. Believe it or not, with a picture of Pantheon, his abilities, and his lore on it. That is how much I like Pantheon.
Yeah.
And even through streaming, my entire brain was built around Pantheon.
Yeah. Because everybody knows me as the Malzahar player, right?
Yeah.
Or the Malzahar Oriana, Cassiopeia, depending on what I was feeling like at the time. But
Which
I know,
disgusting made you feel like?
yeah. But unironically, my favorite champion, which I can't play apparently, according to my silver friends, is Kindred.
Nah, you can't play it.
Nah, I'm aware I've been told I can't play it.
Yeah.
But so the reason why I like Kindred is just the voice lines with any kind of like mental healthy type shit, right? Like a lot of the
Yeah.
Kindred voice lines and just the backstory behind her, it just like resonates with me.
I've always found her voice lines a bit creepy. Like,
I mean,
eerie.
yeah, cause it's my favorite one is like never one without the other.
Yeah, I know that one, yeah.
Right, it's probably one of the more common ones, or like
Yeah.
the, you know, something that got split into two, right? So you'd always have a friend. Like
Yeah.
just like some of those, to me, I don't know whether or not it was at the stage where I was, and plus, it's a ranged jungle champion that can like hard carry games if
Yeah.
needed, right? There wasn't too many of those.
For reference, I have banned Kindred every single game for the past 3 years.
Yeah, that's because the fucking Kindred mains up in the goddamn depths.
Because every Elo booster is a Kindred player, and I'm not a fan.
Weird how that one worked.
Yeah, playing
So
hard carry junglers. Yeah, that's weird.
so we're gonna move right onto the other side of League, right?
The
Because
other side.
I'm gonna ask you a question first, which is not on the list, just because I'm free flowing a little bit here.
A surprise question. Let's hear it.
So, since you have played in some amateur teams, right?
Yes.
So obviously not professionally, but you've played in like some
Yeah,
for fun teams and potentially some tournaments. I don't know your history on that one, and
I
you've
have,
played
yes.
SoloQ.
Yes,
Tell
unfortunately.
us some of the differences between the two, because I rant to people that it's a completely different game.
Oh, it is. Okay, well, first of all, it does depend on what rank you are. So, since I've played like amateur since I was in gold, through to up until like my peak when I was in masters. So there is a very big difference between playing like gold competitive compared to like masters competitive, where like gold competitive, I would argue that it's very similar to playing solo queue, especially if like it feels like you're playing like a flex game of solo queue. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like even though you're in a voice call with teammates that you've played with over and over and over again, still just does not feel coordinated whatsoever. Still feels like, a clown fiesta. But I would argue that like once you get into the Diamond Plus sort of realm of tournaments and stuff, like it does feel a lot more like pro play. You you get people seriously considering drafts, what's actually meta. It's not just based off of what champions people play. It's more so about the actual meta in general, and like you do see the game pace slow down a lot in terms of like there's not so many random first bloods at like level 2 or whatever. You
yeah,
get people playing the game properly, and it is overall a lot more fun. What has over the past couple of years being able to play you know a more competitive division where like you can see League be like the game it was actually meant to be, and not just complete clown fiesta like solo queue.
yeah. I'm because like the champion pools completely change as well. Like
Oh,
in
100%.
solo queue, you see now again. I'm taking this as a mid lane example, right?
Yeah,
Like I'll see Yasuo's on perma. I'll see Yone's on perma. I'll see like the occasional Zed player, the Katarinas.
yeah,
The moment you go into a draft 5-on-5, now admittedly I played a lot of Iron to Gold back in the day, and it was people weren't punishing picks as like bad back then, so you could just play whatever you wanted. If you're good enough, you'll win.
yeah. There was no
But as
counting.
you then go up to the Iron to Plats, the higher end like the open tournaments and stuff like that, if you blind pick your champion,
Yeah,
and they are good enough on the counter of the champion, or the jungler is good enough, you will have a miserable time.
for sure. Yeah.
So like everybody's like, oh, just play Malzahar. You can play Malzahar. And I've repeatedly said to many people, Malzahar has at least 12 bad laning matchups and gets ruined by 85% of the jungle champion pool.
Malzahar is not a fun champion to blind pick. That
Yes.
is for sure.
Because any champion that can clear the voidlings has a laning advantage, and any
Yeah.
jungler that can actually, dash into your lane, or if you set it up like, I think I've had this where I've had, Yone, what was it? It was like Yone Gragas or like, Yasuo Gragas, and I've tried playing Malzahar, and you
That's
actually
why.
just straight up get blasted the entire game because the
Yeah.
coordination is completely different to, people, like most people will drop the ego when they play in fives, right?
Yeah.
If you've been playing with enough people for long enough, you will then learn the fact that, oh, if I give him the resources, he can carry this game.
Yeah.
Whereas in solo queue, it's all about me, I need this wave. I can carry this. Your AD
Yeah.
carry might be more fed than you in the game, and you taking the resources off them in solo queue makes the game go 20 minutes longer. And if their comps outscales yours, you're gonna lose,
Oh, for
typically,
sure. Yeah.
right? But in solo queue, there's a little bit more trust on people in your teams.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so going into the amateur teams, do you have any like fun like iron to gold stories?
Uh, to be completely honest, I played Iron to Gold for like a year, as well as like Iron to Plat. I don't know. I was ranked. I wasn't really like that ranked for a very long time, so I wasn't there very long. But I did play a few tournaments, and honestly, can't remember a single thing about them. All I do remember that I was playing for. I think I was playing for Kraken Esports. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore, but
Cracking the cold one, yeah,
no.
they're not, but like,
They're not? Okay. Well, that's why I'm pretty sure I played for their Iron to Gold team or something. I
yeah,
also played for MCOMs back in the day. None of those players still play anymore. But it was fun times. Just a bunch of people just chilling, hanging out, playing some gold games. Not too serious, but still a good experience, I guess.
yeah. So then, right, you moved into the. I assume you moved from iron to gold into iron to plat for a
That
little
was
bit.
that was basically instantly like the Iron to Gold. I only did like one or two tournaments,
Yeah,
and then it was straight into Iron to Play. I wasn't really gold for, but
for very long.
it's basically the same exact experience. To be honest, I didn't really notice anything different from Iron to Plat. Maybe people got a little bit more like competitive about it. Like in Iron to Gold, you didn't really hear people complaining. Iron to Plat, you started getting like teams and stuff complaining about people being DQ'd, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Tournament integrity, yeah. But the gameplay wise, didn't really notice anything different.
Okay, so what you're telling me is plat players are as bad as gold players. Can confirm.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that was before Emerald. Now they're definitely the exact same.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. As someone who is stuck in Emerald 2 right now, I completely agree with you.
Hey, it's not plat.
Nah, it's a shinier plat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's how I think of it too.
So after that, you moved on to obviously the next logical step was Diamond Plus tournaments.
So I did. So I was doing Iron to Plat, and then I sort of joined it. So I joined MCOM Jade Dragons, and that was an Iron to Plat at the time, but it was sort of being pushed for the players to get above Diamond and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and at that time, so I was Iron to Plat when I was in that team. That's when I hit Diamond. I hit Diamond when it was an Iron, and then I sort of had to take a break because obviously the rest of the team was like, unless they got up to Diamond 2, we couldn't do it. But we also couldn't Plat tournaments either because I wouldn't qualify for it. But so at that point, I sort of took a break from amateur for about 6 months, maybe. When I was like, I think I'd hit masters, at
Yeah.
that time. I was in Diamond for about 2 weeks. I went from Plat 1 to Master 14 days, 13 days, something like that. And then I started looking into playing for, MCOM Academy and stuff like that. I did trial and I did not get in on the first time. And then after about 3 months, the team sort of disbanded. And then they reopened trials. I did get in the second time. But then due to player complications, I'll leave it at the team sort of fizzled and didn't really get too much game time. Did play a lot of scrims though, which are basically the same as.
Yeah. I may get you just to repeat that, just as your microphone did cut at like the end of some of your sentences.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Living in the city, there's a bit of background noise. Microphone kind of cuts out like background noise as best as it can, but yeah. So at the end of it, I basically joined MCOM Academy and then got a lot of scrim time, stuff like that, between the other, academy teams. I subbed in for. This was when I was playing in MCOM Academy. I a scrim with the top MCOM team. I don't remember their name, but that was
It
really.
would have been like M16 or something.
Yeah, M16. Yeah, whatever the top one was. That was a very good experience because obviously getting to play with a bunch of grandmaster players was quite nice. Good exposure, good practice. I actually did win that game, and then I got my Pantheon respect band, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, good overall experience in the amateur scene.
Would you go back?
Um, so the way I was looking at it, so after I stopped playing amateur, like I was sort of focused on getting pro and playing in the LCO, but then when I was talking to a bunch of people about the LCO and becoming pro on OS, and like it just didn't seem overall worth it to me. So I've sort of taken a step back, taken League more as a for fun game, less than I want to hit challenger, I want to play in the LCO and play pro, because this doesn't seem logistically like I think that would work out.
A
But
career decision, right?
yeah, it wouldn't work as a career decision like the other regions. It has always been something that I've wanted to do, play pro, but just in OS it doesn't look like it's really
It's an option.
doable. Yeah, it's not really an option to do, but so I mean it sucks, but I mean it still would have been fun, but who knows, I might not have even made it, but definitely now I'm taking League a lot more casually, playing for fun, less than just LP.
Yeah, we can see that you're stuck in Emerald.
I actually have another account that you don't know.
Oh,
Well, you do
weird.
know, but it's
What?
in Diamond.
How is
It's
that
actually
now?
my main account. It's still Shroudum.
Yeah.
It's it's the one that was. It's still my main account. I just haven't played on it. I did my placements and I'm Diamond in it currently, actually. So as long as I'm not Emerald, it's fine.
Yeah. So I guess my like one thing to tack on to like the LCO thing.
Yeah,
I'm 24, right, which is
yeah,
pretty common. If I was maybe 2 years younger, I potentially would like attempt to go for it.
hmm.
Right now, again, it would take me a lot of grinding, and I too would have to put in like serious hours to like keep the skill, because I'm not someone who needs to put in hours upon hours upon hours to hit like my like peak.
Yeah,
Right, I'm someone who, if I play a scrim set like nowadays and I haven't played League at all on that day, the first
yeah,
game is normally pretty bad, just in terms of like my CSing. The game itself might still be fine, and then
yeah,
once we get to the second or third games, like we've actually switched on,
yeah.
only for the fact that the muscle memory slowly coming back, because if you want to be good enough at anything, repetitions is what matters.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
all about doing it over and over and over and over again until you no longer have to think about it.
100%.
That's why like one tricks on champions are just so much better. Like when it comes to climbing or anything like that, one tricking is actually the best way to fast climb.
I guarantee, regardless of your elo, I would recommend one tricking if
Um,
you really want to climb.
yeah, I've said to people, right, and yeah, so we're moving on from like the amateur team
Yeah, yeah,
talk now. I said to some of my mates, right, I was like, look, I climbed basically playing Tristana only into anything.
yeah. I
And the
saw that.
reason the reason behind that, in my eyes, was only for the fact that I can straight up just out punish and beat people up. Right? Especially in solo queue where you'll find your junglers are very fight happy.
Yeah,
You know, they see enemy jungler and they want to fight them. So
yeah,
if I was ever to play a champion like a Cassidon or, champions that don't move very quickly or at all in the early game, my jungler
yeah,
dies, he starts, like baby raging in the chat because I didn't move for him, right?
yeah.
And
And then
he's
game's over.
tilted and we just lose.
Yeah, you need to be
Whereas
aggro.
Tristana, if I manipulate the waves, which I had to learn how to do, right?
Yeah,
Shout outs to Nova. When I trialed for a WKW team, he actually sent me the videos, which I actually looked at and
yeah,
like learned like the basics behind it. It's not perfect, right? But that was straight up something that I needed to help me out in terms of
yeah,
like I can make this wave come back to me, which then
yeah. Wave
allows.
management.
Yeah, and if my enemy laner, let's say I'm playing Tristana into Malzahar, which is one of my favorite matchups, right? If I force the Malzahar out halfway up the lane, I'll kill him.
Yeah,
And there's not a single thing he can do about it. The only thing that happens is if his jungler's there, I might die,
yeah,
which means I have to play slightly more respectful in that. But again, it's the opportunity cost of having the kill threat and the potential to roam and help your team in those situations. Whereas, on some of my more favorite champions or, some more of my Iron to Gold, Iron to Plat specialties, they don't move as quickly, so they don't win as many games in solo queue. Right?
yeah. That is true.
Until you hit higher elo, where people will then start to be like, oh, we have Kale. Maybe we don't take these 17 early game fights and we allow Kale to just sit there and win us the game if we get it to 40 minutes.
Don't worry, I've
Right?
had people in Masters not do that. So
No, but like I've seen some people in my diamond games be able to do that. So Masters is a different breed, I guess.
it gets worse. Yeah, so it goes up in Masters and Diamond, then it goes down once you hit Masters.
Sounds about right. I
Yeah,
would not be shocked.
wouldn't put it past them.
Typically, that's where all the boosted players end up. So
That is true.
I know some guys.
Yeah,
But what about
boosters
you?
or
Do you
boosties.
a bit of both? Do
Yeah.
you do you have any solo queue tips for people? Right, like we touched on the, one tricking is the best, fastest way to climb. You got anything else for people?
Well, a lot of people like say it as a joke, but limit testing, like, it actually is just a very good way to do it. Like, because you can one trick a champion, but if you don't limit test it, like, if you don't know how hard you can push it, like how hard you can spread your lead, when do you win, when do you lose, that sort of stuff, like it won't be, as effective as it could be if you're one tricking. So I would also advise like one tricking a champion that's, like more aggressive. Because if you're one tricking like a scaling champion, like the Kale, the Ornn, that sort of stuff, like you can't really test your limits because then you're just gonna int because you can't win early.
Your
But
champion's weak, yeah.
yeah, your champion. It doesn't matter how good you're on your champion. You're not gonna get the solo kills early game. But like because I've coached some people where like they're really low elo, but it's because like you can see their stats and their stats are fine. And, it looks like they should be winning games. But then when you look at the games, like they're just very, very, very passive. So like you have to be, proactive in solo queue, especially when it's more of a chaotic sort of game. Envy touched on it earlier, but with the roaming sort of thing, when your jungler, he's gonna fight with or without you. Okay, we got to get that
Higher
straight.
chance of winning if it's with you.
Exactly, he will fight with or without you, and he will blame you if you are not. So it's better to just fight the 2v2, hope you win. Fight the 3v3, hope you win. Because if you don't, then he's still going to fight the 1v2. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
junglers are just like that.
Junglers have
But
never seen a fight they didn't like.
exactly. You know, I've Pantheon altered into many things in my time.
I bet you have.
I have. I've actually got a clip on in a tournament that I keep
Yeah.
getting sent to me, which was not fun. But yeah.
But yeah, like SoloQ is a very interesting one because I've again, and this goes back to the one trick point once, like probably for like the last time I harp on it.
Yeah.
I've told people, right, like, do you care about winning or do you care about having fun?
Yeah, there's a very
Right?
big
Because
difference.
there's two different ways to play SoloQ. One way is you play the best champion that you are, you know, you're more likely to win on that champion,
Yeah,
or you play something you enjoy, which may cost you more games because it's not
yeah,
as strong. And
definitely.
so you have to learn where you want to go, right? Do you want to climb? Because you can climb on both. One is just a lot faster.
Yeah,
And I've then said to other people, it was like, well, if you climb up to the rank, right, and then so if you one trick to, let's say you one trick to diamond, right, kind of
yeah,
like what I did, and then you shift off of that champion onto other champions. If you're fast enough at learning, right, in those situations, and like you can adapt to playing at that level, you actually don't have to be a one trick,
that's
right?
true. Yeah,
But if you are that outclassed once you get up to that level on anything else that's not your one champion,
that's a problem. Yeah,
I personally don't think you deserve to be there.
yeah.
And you know, many people are gonna be like, "Oh, but I still hit the rank," and it's like you did, but it's a little bit inflated because you can only
I
do
don't.
the one
Yeah,
thing.
there's a very there is you can tell like especially in competitive if you take it back to like amateur and even pro like there's a very like I've played against multiple like people who like are complete one tricks where you know basically they only have experience on that one champion like
Yeah,
they're very good mechanically on the champion but what I've noticed is their macro on the role itself sort of falls off a bit so the second they're taken off of that champion their skill dramatically falls off just because their macro is a bit limited as well because they've climbed to that rank basically solely on that champion
yeah, and
like
just brute forcing people.
mechanics. Yeah, and it's usually done by spamming games, you know, getting solo kills and just winning through kills rather than macro. So you
Yeah,
take them off that champion, you start to see a lot more cracks in their gameplay.
yeah, which means you know that's why sometimes you should take yourself off the champion,
Yeah,
right? Because you
need to
need,
branch out.
especially if you want to play tournaments, right? If you only want
100%.
to play solo queue and you want to hit as high as you can, then fine. Play your one champion. Once you start running into the same people over and over again, and they know the times you like to queue, they will start.
Yeah,
It'll just
they'll
start getting
start banning
banned.
it. Yeah,
Um, and then you don't actually get your champion anyway, and you're forced into learning other things.
and you don't want to learn them when you're in high elo.
Nah, but so like unironically, you the best case is probably you hit like Emerald or something, and then start branching out, play some other champions, and then you know see where that gets you. But everybody's different, right? Everybody likes different champions.
Yeah,
I personally I hate when I have like veins on my team because I'm someone who I'd much rather just win the early game and snowball it or
yeah.
attempt to snowball it. And I do believe in bridge champions, right?
I don't like
And
playing catch up.
yeah. So what I mean by bridge champions, and I'm sure you understand exactly what I mean when I say it,
Yeah.
is on when you play again. This is going back to the fives thing because solo queue, you'll get the fucking wackiest team comps in solo queue because of what people want to
Oh,
play,
for sure. Yeah.
and so you can't really. You like you'll get some lobbies where it's like, oh, we have double tank and a enchanter support and a traditional hyper carry AD carry and a mage mid, but other times you'll get the oh, I have a Yone top, Zed jungle, Yasuo mid, and then some fucking stupid ass like Vayne Braum or something,
Yeah.
right? Like, and those games do happen, and they're not gonna not happen.
Yeah.
But my entire point is in that game, who's your early game power, right?
You haven't done.
No one.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, and like me and my team are starting to learn into this. It's if you have scale bot, you need potentially a mid laner who has high damage early game, and then you can, you're him in the early game, and then like you pass the baton once you hit a certain point in the game,
Yeah.
and then your AD carry is now him, right?
Bas-
Whereas in solo queue, no one ever actually wants to pass the baton.
yeah, everyone's the main character. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how people lose games, and especially when you look at some people in the lower elos, they do not know how to be carried,
That is true.
and they always have to try and be him. And then like my last point, and then I'll see if you've got anything else you want to add on to this. But
Yeah.
players who have to like, if I have a good KDA in the game and we lose, I'm pissed, right?
Yeah.
But I would much rather have a really bad KDA. Like, let's say I'm like 3, 8, and 7, but I made the game-winning play mid, like, and I caught someone and we won the game off of it.
Yeah.
Instead of being
Definitely.
15, 1, and 2, but we lose the game.
Yeah. 15-1 or 2. That just sucks when you lose games like that, where it
Yeah,
just feels like your team's without hands. It's a complete 1v9, and it just feels horrible to play. But
yeah,
games where you maybe fall behind in lane, but you still find ways to be useful, whether it's split pushing, making plays in team fights, that sort of stuff, or even just macro pings, like just calling what sort of objectives you want to do, like how we want to set up. Do we want to bush cheese? What do we want to do? Like that sort of stuff that can still just win games just as easily as kills.
yeah.
Kills on everything.
Nah. Right. Did you have any other thing you would like to talk about?
Would just like to say like for people anyone trying to just climb in ranked like SoloQ, it's a bit chaotic, and we touched on the one trick situation. Obviously, best way to climb, but if you wanna one trick, you also sort of wanna play in these amateur sort of leagues that are makes it a bit more fun for you, gives you a bit more to strive towards. I reckon definitely the best way to do it is have your core champions and then have a couple backups. So like you still have like you go into the game, you go into champion select in SoloQ, and you have like these 3 champions, and then you've also got a couple ones that not as practiced on, but you're still a little bit experienced. But you got your 3 champions that you could pick them into anything. You find blind picking. You know you find counter picking them. You're reliable on them. So basically, just get a lot of experience on a couple champions, and then then you can start to branch out. I wouldn't recommend one tricking, but I also wouldn't recommend trying to play everything. We're not faker, and the
I
lower
might
the
be.
elo you go, you might be. I've seen your Malzahar ults;
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I'm
But
him.
yeah, you are him. But definitely wouldn't recommend. I've seen people try and play like every single mid lane. Seen everyone play every role. Like stick to a couple champions. We're not faker. We haven't been playing for
Yeah.
this game since we were in the womb. Like just know what you can actually do. Like we're only human. We're not
Yeah.
that good.
I mean, just the one like last bit on that.
Yeah.
I play mid primary, right? Shock horror. I
Yeah.
think everybody knows that. I actually play AD carry secondary, and the
Did not know
reason
that.
behind that is mid lane. I would argue has to be the most versatile role because of how many champions can typically go into that role,
There are a lot of mid laners, yeah.
right? And then so like for instance, Lucian was a core pick at one stage. Tristana's still floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
Smolder, I think, will become a mid laner. I don't think it stays bot lane forever. I think it comes
Yeah.
to mid
Uh,
at one stage.
yeah, I've seen some mid. Yeah.
And so having to at least play into those champions or know some of those champions, like Varus mid was common at one stage,
Yeah.
right? Varus top happened for like a little brief stint, but typically it was mid lane. It's just
Yeah.
so much easier to then pivot into AD carry where the learning of the skill is so much lighter because you know the skill from mid lane where you've already got 3 of the champions like in theory right? So
Yeah.
that gives you a champion pool bit right there.
Yeah.
Tristana, Varus, Lucian. And if you need to, you can pick things like Syndra, you can pick things like Nico, right? Malzahar bot lane can kind of work sometimes, depending on matchup.
Yeah.
And so you can pivot down into that role a lot easier than having to learn your own main role and then learning jungle,
Yeah, no.
because jungle might be the hardest role to pick up, like
I
properly.
think definitely for picking up, yeah. For the just basic fundamentals, definitely.
And so because of that, it's like it'd be so easy for me to be like, oh yeah, I'll just lock jungle and then just full clear over and over and over again, and then
Yeah,
waste like 30 seconds being like, oh, is this gankable? Is this not gankable? Whereas in my main role, it's like, oh nah, I can't do that, right? And like you
yeah,
just there's no hesitation because you're in your main role.
yeah,
That's the same thing with like anybody who like off rolls top lane, for instance. Typically, they get booted because of the fact that it's a slightly longer lane, especially if you go mid into top. Right, the
yeah.
champion pool like doesn't change drastically, but just the fact you're in a much longer lane, it becomes a lot harder to actually just play the game properly.
Especially with how important what's it called, wave management is in top lane and jungle
Yeah,
tracking.
yeah. I've had quite a lot of games where I may or may not feed when I go into top lane. Right. So unless you've got any last minute words, I think we
No.
might wrap it up here.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
I appreciate you coming on, basis.
Thank you, MB.
You know, I'm sure
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you in SoloQ.
Maybe if you get high enough.
Okay, that's toxic. But I expect nothing less from a Pantheon one trip. Right.
Oh goodness.
Catch you guys.